Faces of Death, directed by Daniel Goldhaber, who also helmed How to Blow Up a Pipeline and Cam, is a reinterpretation of a controversial 70s horror exploitation franchise. It stars Barbie Ferreira, Darce Montgomery, Jermaine Fowler, Aaron Holiday, and yes, Charlie XCX. I heard nothing but good things about this film coming out of early reviews. I felt that Goldhaber tackling this sort of franchise from a modern lens would lead to a result that was anything but mundane. He usually tackles his projects from a very unique perspective, and I felt that this was the perfect kind of franchise to explore. And thankfully, Faces of Death mostly delivers on that promise, giving us one of the more riveting horror experiences I've had in the theater in quite some time. Goldhaber establishes a murky yet tongue-in-cheek atmosphere, letting you settle into the film's offbeat groove without relying on cliché. He uses the premise of content moderation to explore topics of censorship and internet ethics in a way that I found really refreshing and very new. I felt that the film had quite a lot to say about virality and how we treat people that are traumatized on the internet in front of the entire world. Barbie Ferreira's character, while maybe not the most fleshed out in the first act of the movie, was given a more in-depth treatment than most horror leads as the film progressed. Ferreira's ability to portray very modern problems in an authentic manner has always made her a strong addition to whatever she chooses to act in, this film being no exception. Darce Montgomery gives a bone-chilling performance here as the villain, something I honestly didn't think he was even capable of. He really commits to every single quirk and odd mannerism that the script called for, making for an immersive and terrifying villainous performance. He really got under my skin on more than one occasion. The film is one of the only I can recount in recent memory that is able to pull off an aesthetic homage to the 1980s and it not be completely ham-fisted. It had subtle influences of people like David Cronenberg and John Carpenter, and it was very subtle, and I felt like it gave the film a lot more character and made it stand out amongst the crowd of the 80s dribble that is seemingly constant. Seriously, when are we going to get over that motif? I really don't understand why that decade in particular has gotten so much pastiche and so much homage over the past couple of years, but it is nice to see someone take it in a direction that is completely unique, and I felt like it was a very refreshing take on those aesthetics, and it was definitely something that gave the movie more of a character and definitely made me more invested in it, stylistically. While I really enjoyed my time with Faces of Death, it most certainly has its warts. I found the investigative side of the first act to be pretty trite and kind of repeating patterns of old horror movies that I've seen over and over and over again. The narrative falls into trappings of cliché more often than I would have liked. The supporting cast also left a lot to be desired. I found Aaron Holiday to be extremely wooden, kind of halting the pace of whatever scene he was featured in. And he's in a lot of central sequences throughout the film, and I just found his performance to be amateur at best. And Charlie XCX, even for as little as she's in the movie, was distractingly awful. And I know she can act. Like, I saw the moment. I've seen her in other things. She can act pretty well. I don't know why they had her doing an American accent. I don't know really why she was in this movie at all, but she was pretty bad, and in the limited screen time she was in. And my major problem with the film is for as gory and unsettling as the movie can be at times, and it really gets under your skin in certain sequences, and I felt was very powerful in that way, I definitely wanted a little more from the horror aspect of things. I felt like it pulled a lot of punches in areas that could have fully utilized its R rating, ultimately making those sequences feel kind of limp. It doesn't happen in every sequence, obviously. I still really liked the movie. I think that it can be very skin-crawling at times. I think it could definitely make you very uncomfortable, but I do think it, again, pulled a lot of the punches and could have gone a lot further in certain areas. Despite it being a pretty flawed experience, though, I felt that Faces of Death makes up for those missteps in what it gets right. Daniel Goldhaber has a very distinct voice that makes whatever narrative he chooses to sink his teeth into automatically riveting. I think he tackles the subjects that he chooses to include in his work from an angle that not many people are willing to explore. The film raises a lot of interesting and kind of awkward questions, and it wasn't afraid to fully freak out its audience at times. And while I do wish, again, it would have gone further in some areas, I walked away feeling pretty satisfied from Faces of Death. So I'm going to give it a very strong 3.5 out of 5. What did you guys think of Faces of Death? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like. It always helps these videos come out quicker. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. Thank you guys so much for watching.